Turning our attention now to the ASX, here's Matt Birney and Bulls and Bears with the latest public company views and interviews.
Welcome to Bulls and Bears, where we break down the latest ASX announcements from public companies that are doing interesting things. Today's Bulls and Bears report is brought to you by Australian Vanadium, ASX code AVL. I'm Matt Birney and I'm joined now on 6PR by the Managing Director of Australian Vanadium, Vincent Algar. Hi, Vincent.
Hi, Matt.
Australian Vanadium is set to become one of just a handful of vertically integrated vanadium producers outside of China, with its high-grade Gabonintha vanadium deposit just south of Meekatharra in WA. Unlike many vanadium developers who produce vanadium for the steel-making industry, Australian Vanadium is looking to supply the vanadium battery industry with its ultra-high purity product, and the company has even set up its own subsidiary to develop the market in Australia. Vince, why vanadium batteries? Do they compete with lithium batteries, and if so, how?
The vanadium batteries have a particular set of characteristics which allow them to be very suitable for long-duration storage of renewable energy. We know the way the world is currently looking is to shift away from high carbon-intensive industry and power generation, and vanadium flow batteries fit this bill perfectly. Lithium-ion batteries are very, very well suited to our electrification of transportation and our other devices, but when it comes to energy storage, you need something that can handle long duration, that can handle high cycle life, and this is where the Australian developed vanadium flow battery is actually perfect for the job.
Okay, so what's the current resource estimate at your Gabonintha project, and how does that stack up globally?
So currently the company has two resources. Our overall resource, which is just under 200 million tonnes, or just over 200 million tonnes of material at about 0.7, but our main focus is this very high-grade zone that exists geologically independently at Gabonintha, which is 87.9 million tonnes at over 1%, and that is very comparable as a feed grade to the other operating mines around the world, of which there are only three, I might point out.
Who will you sell your product to, and will it just be raw concentrate, or will you go further downstream?
The company is a firm believer that the sale of high-purity vanadium pentoxide is the way to go. Concentrate does not achieve a high price except for the iron ore price. So our target market is to sell vanadium to existing markets that use vanadium in their steel and in their battery markets. With the battery market growing as it does, our high-purity product is ideally suited for this purpose.
I noticed the company also owns a subsidiary called Vincent Energy. How does that tie into your program?
The development of the vanadium flow battery market is nascent and therefore very, very important, not only to the vanadium price and stabilisation of the vanadium price, but also in the diversification of the vanadium market. The beautiful thing about vanadium flow batteries is that they store the vanadium in a form that is completely recoverable and therefore has a place to store the asset for future use, both in batteries and in steel. This very key difference in the vanadium flow battery and its application mean that it's a very noble exercise to follow and could be very, very beneficial to the vanadium industry overall in terms of its long-term growth.
Vincent Algar from Australian Vanadium, thanks very much for joining me on 6PR today. And just remember, Bulls and Bears is only here to give you information, not advice, which you should of course seek independently. I'm Matt Birney. Thanks for listening to Bulls and Bears.
For more public company CEO interviews, go to the Money page at 6pr.com.au and click the Public Companies tab.